Okay, we are in the first part. We're in the first part. The first part for today. What does it say? All scriptures are given by the inspiration. Well, I'm glad we remember that, because that's important, that all scriptures are given by the inspiration of God. I'm going to make a few here today, just in case I forget one.
Did I give you the brown one back?
Yeah.
You got it.
Okay. Let's ask God to open up our minds and hearts, that we understand His Word, and that we do understand more than we really normally understand, that He really reaches our hearts, and that He really sinks deeply in and makes us understand His precious Word. In His name we pray, and His name is Yeshua HaMashiach. You know that saying? Yeshua HaMashiach. That's Jewish, Hebrew. Anyway, my verse for today is very simple. You know what it is? My verse for today is, greater love has no man than to lay down his life for a friend. And that's another little card I'm going to give you. You can put that on your fridge. I keep forgetting them. This is a little memory card. You can stick them on a counter in a food store or what store. And I'll ask you a few. We're going to ask you a few more questions about this one. When you read this, let it really sink in your head. That's food for thought when it says, greater love has no man than to lay down his life for a friend. So obviously we are in the love story today. Most people, when they read the book of Ruth,
Thanks, Rudy.
Ruth, you know, Ruth, the book of Ruth, is found, of course, in the Old Testament. It's right after Judges. Most people who read that book, Ruth, they think, why is that in the Bible? Because it is just a nice story. What is it doing there? So we will learn a few things about the Jewish customs or traditions, which will give us hopefully a better understanding of scriptures. Because many things we will find out a little bit later. If you understand the book of Ruth and some of the customs, you will understand certain things in Revelation. Okay, well, it's a nice story with much more meaning than we think. A young woman, her name is Ruth. He seduces, or she seduces, an older, rich relative, Boaz, by sneaking into his bed while he sleeps. And her mother-in-law, Naomi, told her just how to do it. Wait until he is sufficiently drunk and then uncover his feet. The scheme worked. Boaz married Ruth and everybody lived happy ever after. And that's the end of that. You know what the name Ruth means? Ruth means friendship. It is astounding many times the names have a meaning, and that's why most of our names do have a meaning. It's fascinating when I have a book, everybody didn't want it in the college at one point. It gives me every name in the Bible, and it gives me the meaning behind it, and often I look up what it means. It's a very good resource book. I don't think it's in print anymore. Okay, however, Ruth refuses and insisting upon remaining with Naomi, with her stepmother. She insisted, I want to stay with you. And therefore we come to one of the most declaring famous commitments in the Holy Scriptures. Here's what Ruth says. Entreat me not to leave thee, or to return from following after thee. For whither thou goest, I will go. Or whither thou lodgest, that was halfway mark.
I will lodge.
Where you lodges, I will lodge. Or wherever you live, I will live. And thy people shall be my people, and thy God my God. When thou diest, I will die, and there will I be buried. The Lord do so to me, and more also, if aught but death part thee and me. So if everything happens or whatever, I stay with you till death parts us. Her persistence and devoted commitment to her mother-in-law leads to a dramatic romance. It leads to a prophecy that a king is coming. and being included in the family tree of the Messiah. And her story also yielded an incredible overview of God's plan of redemption. Most people don't see that in there. Upon returning to Bethlehem, we get a little bit deeper in that. They were exiled. Ruth encountered the hero of the tale, the handsome landowner Boaz. To follow the narrative, to follow the whole story, you must understand several ordinances of the Torah and their associated customs. That is actually very, very important to understand it. The law of gleaning. What was the law of gleaning? When the harvester, when the reapers came into the field, they what? They went in there and they were told to leave some leftover. And the leftover was for the poor people to come after. They couldn't go and harvest and then go again and pick up the bits and pieces and really harvest all of it. And that was the law of gleaning. You can find it in Deuteronomy 19. Actually, Ruth is doing that. She is gleaning, and Boaz left a little bit more for her there. But you can read that up yourself. The second one, what we should understand, is the law of redemption. Boaz, his name means in him is strength. That you find in Leviticus in 25th chapter. You find the law of redemption. You know, the law of redemption is basically, I can give you very shortly a few highlights. Naomi encourages Ruth to spend the night with Boaz in chapter 3. Ruth lies next to Boaz after uncovering his feet. All in chapter 3. She tells Boaz to spread his skirt over her. That was not only seducing him, but that was really to say, hey, marry me. That was not just to have a night stand with him. It has a lot of meanings behind it. When you think about when she asked him to put the skirt over him, all the skirts on the bottom, they were the laws. When you remember, David cut the skirt, the power of Saul, King Saul, and that was an evidence that he was visiting him at night, and he could have killed him, and all around. So when it says to cover the skirt over it, it's almost putting your authority over me. Okay, and Boaz goes and with Ruth, and he conceives a son. And you can believe that's David's grandfather. The father was Solomon, then David. And Solomon's father was Boaz. Interesting. It is a classic romance. This little 4-book chapter is always also dealt in with different colleges. They just expounded without mentioning God in it. It's a classical story of loyalty and devotions, and yet it also contains some important insights. One of the principal characters is Naomi, a Bethlehemite, who, because of a famine, migrates with her husband and the 2 sons to a distant, to Moab. There we go. That's the warning. It works. Anyway, we going back to the classic romance in a minute, and I just shut it off for a minute for the YouTube people. And that is number 1.